Wish everyone smiled like you when they did that.
It's fun. You always saw it
You
outside.
see it on TV.
Yeah. As a kid, I just know I was just not like other kids, like I believe my father back in Malaysia, he's a gangster. So as a kid, we move a lot. And so I think that was the reason why anxiety was created, because we always had to pick out and run. If you need a quick mover, I'm the one. I know how to pack very quickly. Now I can laugh about it, but that was my childhood, like every 1 or 2 years, and then we have to pick everything out and then move. I can't tell people what exactly my father do. I can't invite friends to our place. I also being told, even when I meet my father outside, I need to pretend I don't know him. Who get to tell by their own parents when you meet me outside, pretend you don't know me because you don't know who I'm hanging around with? It's kind of start disappearing in our life when I turning about 9 or 8, and my mom, she worked really hard to raise us up. So we're very close as a family, as a kids, because we have to rely on each other. Now when we became adult, I can see why my second sister has anxiety, why my third sister also have anxiety. Even my mom, like I realized that she had anxiety as well. Back in 1980s, there's not a lot of knowledge or understanding what mental health, mental illnesses. My parents are quite superstitious, so they thought, like they will consult with like Chinese priests just to see if there's something wrong. So the belief was just that I was low in energy, so could be that some evil spirit were attacking me. But I only then realized what I experienced was anxiety and depression. Is when I study a degree at AUT and doing a psychology paper, reading through some material to realize, oh my God, that's what I've been experiencing. My anxiety sometimes came out as an outburst of anger. And then I was just being, mean or easily getting angry outside all the time. Also, the first year at university, I was drinking a lot. The reason why I'm drinking a lot is because it helped me to calm myself down, which I didn't realize that was what I was doing. I was like, wow, this feels great. Because the reason why I feel great is because first I relax. And then second is I can be silly. Third is I don't think about too much. And that's why I was like, oh, I enjoy this. And then became, I enjoy this a little bit too much. And then I start drinking even when I go to classroom, like lecture, and then I was drunk. I realized, oh my God, I really need help. I have learned a lot of techniques just to keep myself grounded, like doing mindfulness, doing yoga, and then I have to watch what I eat. My sleeping need to have enough. I go to psychotherapy. I have medications, and then I do mindfulness. Sometimes I was like, what else do you want me to do? And also I get jealous of people who doesn't have to go through all that just to be able to do the so-called normal things. After practicing mindfulness, I realized that my shoulders start tensing out, and then start doing this, and then start having shallow breaths. And also I can start feeling tension on my chest. And that helped me to quickly go back to my breathing, just thinking about my breath, in, out, in, out. The good thing is because you're doing it in your head, so no one can see it. I have to say it has been a tremendous help, but I always feel like I have to do a lot of things to keep myself enough energy to be a well-functioning human being. I understand my parents, they really love me. They don't know what to do. And then the reaction is they also don't know what to say. And then they try not to say anything. But I kind of have to be the educator, which I am very fortunate because I was working in mental health. So I know what it is. I can explain it to them. I always have psychotherapy or talking therapy support me, but I need something more so that I can feel life can be a bit easier. And that is when I start taking medication. But my mother, she's very cute. When I call her and tell her over the phone, she says, son, I don't understand what it is. She said, do you want to come home? Just come back to Malaysia, and then, but I told her coming back to Malaysia, the problem won't go away. I mean, that is just because they don't want me to suffer. They want to protect me. Every time they would just ask me, "Oh, are you still taking medication?" I say yes, and then they would just stop the conversation. So there's still a stigma attached to it, and the stigma is still very prevalent in our Asian communities because I mean, like, there's not many Asians who put their hands out and say, "I have mental health conditions," or "This is what I experienced." I talk to a lot of young Asians. I know many of them have been through anxiety as well, and they also told me, like their parents usually decided not to talk about it. Either they are not being encouraged to get help, or when they're encouraged to get help, the parents choose not to have those conversations because they don't know how to carry those conversations. I have to say, navigating society through anxiety is still a challenge. And also, growing up in a collective culture, sometimes it's even harder to ask for help because our culture taught us to be polite, like you have to hide your emotions, how you have to behave. And so I think I've been taught to really hide how I feel even when I'm anxious. But the challenge is when, behind a closed door, then what happened next? We shouldn't pretend to be okay all the time, or even just being told you think too much, or, just need to be stopped thinking. I would if I could. Who wants to make oneself to be miserable? But unfortunately, that is just the conditions that, come with me.